Alright everybody, we're back here for round 2 after a thrilling victory in round 1 over a token deck. And we're against Could Reaver. Looks like we're playing against Delver probably. Okay, so this is a terrible matchup. Just like a normal Turbo Fog deck, the Delver type decks are really bad. And looks like we're getting a Taxing Probe, but the decks that have lots of counter spells are basically the bad matchups. And unfortunately, this deck is going to have at least 8 pretty much hard counters for our Fogs. And that's going to make it really hard for us because they also have a fast clock. So we're going to be in trouble. We are pretty much dogs in this matchup. I don't know what my win percentage is against Delver, but I would venture to guess that it's in the 25% range or so. It's really bad. Alright, that was a good draw for us. That means next turn we can cast Rampant Growth and we don't have to play the Simic Growth Chamber and discard. See what we're looking at here. Another bear. Alright. So our opponent's missing a land drop. That's a good start for us. It's possible I should play this other Thornwood Falls, but this will give us access to 3 mana next turn no matter what. So I'm going to run out this Rampant Growth. They might daze it if they have one. This would be a nice spell to daze. Okay, they don't. Typically the best time to daze is when you don't have another land drop, so that would have been a pretty decent time if they had one. Let's see what they've got here. They have one of those shadow guys. Another Phantasmal Bear. Alright. Now we're getting crazy. So my plan here is to cast Moment's Peace in their upkeep, I believe. So I'm gonna Thought Scour myself here. Go up to 7 cards. Alright, and then pick up this island here. And then I'm gonna Moment's Peace in the upkeep because all of their counterspells cost 2 mana. And I'd really like to get at least 1 turn fogged. And this might still get countered. They might have a daze. I don't know if this deck runs a Dispel. It probably runs 1 or 2. But I just really want to get this resolved before they could get something else online, like a Spellstutter Sprite especially. They couldn't have cast it that turn even if they drew a land, but that's something I want to be careful of. Alright, so this turn I think I'm going to play an untapped land, flashback the Moment's Peace in their upkeep again, and then I'm going to cast an Accumulated Knowledge. I'm going to cast both in their upkeep. I do want both of them to resolve, so actually I don't care if the Accumulated Knowledge resolves. I'm going to wait on that. Ponder. Alright, this will probably give them their second land. We're eventually going to have to get to a point where we can probably cast 2 or maybe 3 fogs in the same turn in order to get through all their counterspells. Okay, they chose to shuffle. See if they hit a land. Looks like they didn't, but they have a probe. You can always tell when someone's trying to cast a probe because it says in this little text box that they're trying to pay the cost and they're still waiting to click on their name. Alright, so they found the land off of the probe. That's just fine. If you ever forget if you've cast a fog effect on your turn, you can always look in the little effects zone. So you can see that we have one cast already. They remembered it too. So we'll go with this AK. I'm going to cast the other one on our turn because they almost certainly can't counter it, and it's going to put us to 8 cards, and then I'm going to discard, or then I'm going to play land. We aren't going to have to discard at all. Alright, so I'm going to play a tapped land. It's maybe a little risky because they might be able to daze us, but we can still take 1 more hit from their guys, so it's okay if we get countered 1 time here. In fact, it's better if we get countered now than later because this actually isn't lethal even in 2 swings. I'm going to cast the more expensive one, which means I should probably cast this one out of my graveyard, but I'm going to cast this one because I don't want to have to discard when I cast pieces of the puzzle next turn. It might not matter too much to lose some of these lands, but I do like to keep as many lands as possible in this deck. There's definitely turns where you pieces of the puzzle into pieces of the puzzle into fog, 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 and you need to have mana for all that stuff. Alright, so I'm going to cast pieces here, and I am going to protect it with Arcane Denial probably, because we don't have a lot else going on if they cast Counterspell. The reason I'm casting pieces here and I'm not going to cast Preordain right away is because I don't want them to hit it with a Spellstutter Sprite. However, here I would love to trade this Preordain for a Spellstutter Sprite here on this turn. Okay, they didn't take the bait. I kind of want both of these. So we still have one more turn where we don't need to actually fog for a turn, and in fact, if they don't play anything here, we'll have 2 turns. This deck does run Mutagenic Growth though, so we probably only get one more free hit. This is a tough decision here. I have a lot of card draw, so I definitely want some lands, but I don't know if I have enough time to just tap out for this Kodama's Reach at all. I'm gonna put both of these on top, but I'm not gonna cast either one of them. I'm gonna fog again. I don't want them to be able to sneak in ninjas and draw extra cards yet. That wouldn't be such a problem later, but I don't want it to happen right now. So here's a good time. Well, I'm going to block, see if they want to ninjutsu a guy in, and they do. It looks like paying cost in the blocker step. They decided against it, I think. You realize it doesn't actually matter. I'm gonna cast this Moments Piece because it costs so much mana. I'm guessing it's gonna get countered, but that's okay. We can take the 7. Okay, it didn't. It's possible they may have still wanted to ninjutsu that guy in right there anyways. But they said not to. Let's get this Raiden Fountain into play. I'm going to cast this Kodama's Reach. Get 2 lands. I'm going to get 1 of each. We need to make sure we have enough green sources in case I want to cast 2-3 fogs in a turn, but also enough blue sources that I can Arcane Denial. So, get some of each. I'm going to put the island into play. Normally 4 green sources in play at one time is plenty. And I think I'm going to pass the turn here. I don't want to discard, so I'm just going to cast this fog on their turn at some point. It's possible we have a chance this game since they took so long to find their land. Normally the only way you can ever win against Delver is by getting an early battlefield scrounger and just beating them down. Alright, let's fog. See if we can get a Spellstar Sprite out of them. Looks like they're countering it with something. Yeah, Spellstar Sprite. This is probably a good time to cast Arcane Denial, actually. I've got the mana up for it, and if they counter it back, I don't care very much. This isn't a lethal attack or anything. It's not even half of lethal, which is important. Okay, so we got 1 Spellstar Sprite down. They have about 8 spells that matter in their deck. They probably have 4 counter spells, and they've got 4 Spellstar Sprites. And they may also have a Deprive or 2. So those are the cards we care about. Well, I stacked the triggers wrong. You normally want to make sure that you stack them so that you draw first. It's not going to really matter. It almost never matters in this deck, but just as a general rule, you want to draw your cards before they do. Alright, Kodama's Reach is a great draw. We get some more lands in play. Just like Snow-Go last week and basically every control deck ever, this deck is very mana hungry, so we gotta make sure we keep enough mana sources in play. So I've got 2 accumulated knowledges in my graveyard, so I'll go down to 5 cards and then up to 8. I don't want to discard again, so I'm just gonna pass the turn here. It's possible that was the turn I should have maybe cast one of these cards that drew me too many to make me discard. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Alright, I'm going to fog. Just get the fog out of my hand. Alright. It works so far. I might still stick a ninja into play. Okay, they're brainstorming. I'm going to accumulate knowledge in response to the brainstorm. I don't want them to draw a counterspell and then counter my... I really want this accumulated knowledge to resolve. That's a lot of cards. Okay, brainstorm's fine now. So we've got this Arcane Denial. It's an answer to one more of their spells that matters. They still have 7 more though that we have to get through. And 7 is a lot. Delver, okay. So you have to be careful in this deck to make sure you still have stuff to fetch out with these. And we do still have, I believe, 2 forests at least. Yep, so we had 2 forests in there. Let's play a deep analysis. Draw some cards. Alright. So I've got enough mana for Respite and Moment's Peace, or Respite and Arcane Denial. I'm going to try to hold up mana for days for the rest of the game if possible. I have a lot of lands in play, and I really don't want one of my important spells to get dazed. I'm going to put a stop in my upkeep to see what happens after this Delver reveal happens. If it's a counterspell or something, Vapor Snag, don't care about that, so you can draw that all they want. The unfortunate thing about Vapor Snag is it's basically another spell starter sprite if I let any spell starters resolve. So might be in my best interest to try to Arcane Denial all of the spell stutters. This looks like a Gush. I'm not going to counter Gush. I actually like it when they get further behind on lands. It limits the number of spells they can cast in one turn, and that's the only thing that really limits us here, is that we can cast more spells in a turn than them right now. So hopefully we can have more answers than they have answers. This looks like a pretty good attack to throw down this Respite here. It's quite a bit of life to gain at this point. And I'd like to get a card out of my hand for when I'm drawing some extras. We're up to 23 life, so we're still in 2 attack range, I believe. Not quite. If this flips, though, they'll have enough power to kill us in 2 attacks. Alright, so let's cast Think Twice here. And a Fog, okay. I can't flashback the Think Twice, don't have enough mana. Opponent's got to discard. Vapor Snag is going, okay. I'm a little surprised to see that, actually. Those sort of matter, usually. Alright. Let's cast Pieces of the Puzzle. So, Pieces of the Puzzle has the benefit of getting us through our library really quickly. And even if we put our Scrounger in the graveyard, we can pick up a Pulse and another Pieces. So, we got that going. Let's play a land. I'm gonna play this Preordain. Alright, Negate's a good one. We don't need any more lands. So Negate will be good on the counter spells, and I'm saving this Arcane Denial for a spell starter sprite. Let's get a stop going in our opponent's upkeep here. Okay, they didn't flip. Give them a chance here to put in a ninja. We'll see if they do that. They decide against it. Gonna keep fogging. At this point, all that matters is The fogs, we have to make sure that we can resolve one of them over the course of 2 turns. So our opponent here has only enough mana, unless they have Dispel, like 2 Dispels in their hand, they're not going to be able to stop me from resolving this Pulse of Marasa. So I'm going to go for that. Let's see what they've got. They also only have 1 Fairy in play, which means they can't Spell Stutter this outright. If I get really lucky, they'll just double Spell Stutter. Okay. They didn't care about that. I'm going to flash back to Think Twice then. So we're up about 1.5 minutes on our opponent. I believe we still have 1 forest in our deck, if I recall correctly. It doesn't look like we hit it. I'm going to quick double check the deck list here. I'm sorry I don't have it memorized perfectly. I think there are 6 forests in it though. We're getting some pretty bad lag here, unfortunately. I don't know what the issue is, but it shouldn't. Hopefully it won't kill us this game. Got Turbo Fog. Looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only. 5 of each. Okay, so I actually don't have any more basics to get. So the Rampant Growth is dead. Let's play our Scrounger. So Scrounger here is much better than against a normal Delver deck, because I can actually just block these guys and they can't get through. Alright, so let's cast Pieces of the Puzzle. See if we can hit another fog. I still have 1 Moment's Peace in the graveyard, but it'd be nice to hit another fog effect for our hand. Alright, we're gonna go with Moment's Peace and Pieces of the Puzzle. And I'll pass the turn. I believe our Thought Scour is in our graveyard somewhere. I think we hit it off of an earlier Pieces, so... Alright, I played it earlier, that's right. Alright, see what our opponent has. Not flipping. Alright. So they actually only have 4 power or flyers. If they attack with this Delver, I'm just blocking it. Alright. Block. See what they're doing here. Putting in a Ninja, looks like. Okay. I actually don't care about them drawing more cards, so I'm just going to let them hit me with that guy. Them drawing extra cards is going to basically shorten my clock because it's going to take me a while. I mean, they've still got 33 cards in their deck. That's still 15 Thought Scours. That's a lot of Thought Scours to get through all that stuff. Alright, so I'm gonna play this Pulse of Marasa at the end of turn. If they want to counter it, that's okay with me. I don't mind very much. I'm gonna grab this Tranquil Thicket. Just gain some life. Make a little buffer. At some point, they won't be able to attack us for much more than 6, 7, or 8 a turn or something, so it's not going to be an issue at all that we can't fog necessarily every turn. Alright, so I'm going to put back Pulse of Marasa, Respite, and let's go with Accumulated Knowledge. Alright, and I'm okay flashing back to the Think Twice. It's going to mean we have to discard, but we have this Rampant Growth that doesn't do anything anyway, so it's okay to discard that. And I also wouldn't mind discarding this Deep Analysis. It's better in the graveyard anyway. So here's always a good question. If I should try to beat down my opponent, I have a 3-turn clock, or if I should try to defend. Okay, We got rid of a daze on a card that we didn't even really want to resolve that badly anyways, so works out pretty well for us. We drew another Arcane Denial, which is good. I think I'm going to try to beat him down. So here we go. On the attack. Yeah, so they're already chump blocking. That's great for me. And let's see. I'm going to put some lands back in my deck. Pick up. So we're going to go Thornwood Falls, Lonely Sandbar, and let's put another Fog in there. So unfortunately there's a bug with Battlefield Scrounger. I don't get to pick the order of those cards. So they're just going in there all willy-nilly. Alright, so I'm going to grab this Accumulated Knowledge and this Respite from before. And then I'm going to Deep Analysis myself to draw one of those lands. Got to be a little careful. I'm down at 4 cards. All right, I didn't hit a land, unfortunately, in those cards. Let's pulse back. This Thornwood Falls. Play that. I've got 9 cards. I'm going to discard the Rampant Growth. And I'm also going to discard an Arcane Denial. I don't think I need that many. I'll eventually get all of them back into my hand again later. Alright, see what we got. They attack him with everything, they leave him back a chump blocker. Attack him with everything. Let's cast this Respite. I'm going to start with the Respite because they can't counter this with a Spell Stutter. You know, I think we are actually probably going to win this game. Which is pretty good. So what's important now is to stay reasonably up on time. Going to put some lands back in here. Just going to play them. Alright, let's attack. We still are quite a few attacks away from killing our opponent. They probably have some Vapor Snags and Snaps and stuff in their hands. That's fine. Just play him again. I do have to be careful here. I actually messed up at some point. I should put up... I messed up right there. I should have put a Pulse of Marasa back in our deck. Because if this gets countered here, I can't get it back. So I'm going to quick do that now just to make sure I don't screw that up later. Alright. And one other reason I wanted to put some more cards in my deck on this turn is so I can accumulate a knowledge and draw a bunch without milling myself. So you have to be really careful there. We're probably going to be at under half of our time by the end of this game. I'm just going to let these hit me. They don't matter. Okay. Attacking with a few more things. I'm still going to let myself get hit for 8. These are just chump blockers that I'm getting off the field for later. I'm going to snap my Scrounger. That's annoying, but it's not a big deal. If we didn't have time to deal with, that would be... this could be completely a non-issue, these snaps. Okay, we play a Moment's Peace. Again, I maybe should have put some cards back on the bottom right there, but I didn't. Alright. Accumulated Knowledge. Draw a bunch. A bunch indeed. Alright. Thornwood Falls. I'll play the Scrounger again. So the reason I'm countering some of these is I want to get some of these counterspells into my graveyard so I can get them back with Scrounger again afterwards. Alright. I'm going to put negate accumulated knowledge and just gotta choose something. Let's go with the other pulse back in our deck. F6. So I'm up a little bit on time, but by the end of this, I will probably be down on time at the end of this game. This is the type of game where I'm probably going to have to bring in those curses for next game. So I have tons and tons of life. I'm not going to fog if it means I get to take one of these off the board. Deck plays Mutagenic Growth, but you can't Mutagenic Growth the Phantasmal Bear, so it just doesn't matter. 8 is not a problem. Down to 30. Maybe he's going to try to gut shot this or something. Put a ninja in after damage. You can do that if you want to just be efficient, but it doesn't draw you a card. Alright, let's pulse something back. Let's get back a Simic Growth Chamber. I just want to gain some life. Let's put the pulse, fog, pieces of the puzzle back in our deck. Okay. Let's get to attacking. Probably gonna throw the bear in front. That's okay. I'm gonna pick up the Radiant Fountain. It's possible I should pick up I'm actually gonna pick up a forest, and I'm gonna discard the forest. And eventually I'm gonna probably get a Cultivate and put that back in the deck. But we'll see. I might not do that. Okay, this is a good spot for my Respite. Again, they don't have Spell Stutter, number of fairies for Spell Stutter at this point. Opponent is somehow down at 3 cards. I don't know what they've been doing with all of them. And I know at least one of them's a daze. They keep trying to do stuff in the damage step. Okay. Putting a ninja in. Damage was already prevented, so they especially don't draw a card. Need to play their bear. Okay. I'll attack. A jump block. So there's not much to say here, guys. I'm just trying to kill him. Pick up the Radiant Fountain. I don't know. Let's play Preordain. Let's put some of this stuff on top, I guess. So we got the Fog in hand. I'm going to put a Respite back into our deck next turn when I'm attacking. Alright, I'm going to toss out a Fog here. It's a little annoying that this can get hit by Spell Stutter. I don't really think they have one, judging by how they've been playing so far, but you never know. Alright, let's pull something back. I'm going to get back the Tranquil Thicket. So this is why I play these in my deck, so I can do stuff like this and gain 6 life a turn really easily, almost every turn. Let's put the Pulse, the Respite, and Accumulated Knowledge back in the deck. Time to attack. Alright, jump block again. Yeah, like I said before, we're pretty far from winning this game simply because they have a lot of jump blockers. So I don't actually have any fogs in my hand here. So I'm going to accumulate a knowledge. I think I'll draw one off of this. Can't quite remember. Yep, so there's a fog. Play that. And next turn I'm going to be either drawing a Respite or I'll be drawing the accumulated knowledge, so I'll definitely be able to Respite. Yep, there it is. I'm gonna put pulse, fog, and another fog back in my deck. Draw accumulated knowledge. Should have probably put a land in there at some point just so I could play one this turn. Probably gonna chump block again. Yep. I'm gonna cast Pieces of the Puzzle here. Grab some of those cards out. I'll grab a Pulse and a Fog. I'm gonna pulse back a land and play it. Let's get the Forest. So opponent's officially ahead of us on time, so I'm gonna have to kind of stop screwing around quite so much. Let's get rid of this Pieces. I'm gonna put back Pulse, Pulse, Fog here. Alright, I'm gonna cast Respite. So we're at the unfortunate part of the game where our opponent lost about 10 minutes ago, but they won't concede because I'm gonna run out of time. Possibly. I don't really want Arcane Denial any of these because they can just draw 2 more things. Just a chump block every turn. I'm drawing a bunch of cards every turn. A Respite, Pieces, and a land back in. Do we have any more lands? Some Growth Chamber, sure. I want to be able to accumulate knowledge on their turn without dying. Just gonna negate this Ponder. I'm gonna start negating their card draw spells just to speed this up. That's one less creature that they can find to block me. Fog. Alright. I'm gonna put Fog, negate, and Fog back in our deck. We're gonna draw a bunch with accumulated knowledge. Alright, I'm gonna attack. Alright, let's put some of this stuff back in. Get the Thought Scour back, I guess. Growth Chamber. Pick up a Forest. Just have 6 here. We have a lot of cards. I'll discard a Forest and this Pulse. Fortunately, I don't have the negate for this, so they're gonna get to Ponder. Don't quite have the negate back yet. I could have grabbed it with Pieces to cut off this line. They chose not shuffle, so I'm sure they just drew another chump blocker and they want to try to time me out a little more. Okay, I'm gonna cast Respite. Just remember when you guys are watching this that you asked for it, so I can't be blamed for what happens in this match. Incoming 1 creature. That's a chump blocker. Yep. It's pretty annoying, but I don't really have a faster way to end the game. So here we are. It's possible I should have just milled them up by now, but I really thought this would be faster. So I'm going to grab that negate here because I don't want the same thing to happen next turn. Piece of the Puzzle, we'll have no cards left in our deck. I'll grab the negate. and an accumulated knowledge. Put Fog, Thought Scour, Pulse and Marasa back in our deck. Pass the turn. Yep, so we drew our negate, so I'm just going to counter this Preordain because Preordain could eventually be a creature. At some point I expect our opponent to daze to take like 30 seconds off my clock. Ooh, a counterspell. Okay. Well, if we were in paper I could guarantee put this negate on top, but I can't. Can't here. Well, let's see if we draw it. We didn't, and it's a little too risky, so I don't want to cast this Thought Scour and then, I don't know, have to counter some like Vapor Snags and stuff. Another Ponder. Yeah, we're getting to the point where we're really short on time. This is really cutting it close to where we just won't be able to win another game. One good thing about Mono Blue is they have no way to take our curse off the table once it hits. Got the Fog. Yep. Hopefully we're drawing that negate here. Didn't. Yeah, I think I probably would have killed them faster if I had just been Thought Scouring them every turn. That was probably a mistake on my part to kind of misevaluate the situation. Fog, accumulated knowledge, explore back in the deck, I guess. Alright, let's go to this Pulse, and don't really need the Thought Scour. Well, I should have kept the Thought Scour, that was a mistake. I was keeping that so I could negate this turn. They drew a creature. Gonna cast Respite, draw, gain 1 life. The reason I do that is if they drew a Spell Stutter, a counterspell. Okay. That does nothing. I know they still have, this is the Spell Stutter probably. Yeah, it's a little annoying. Cast another Fog. Okay, actually I can't F6 quite yet. I want to put some of this stuff back in. Fog. Fog. Put that Scar back in. Okay, they're gonna block me again. I just love this Moment's Peace in my graveyard. Hopefully I drew a non-creature and I can just, yeah, I'm just gonna negate that. Alright, put negate, respite. Let's put deep analysis back in our deck. Come on. Alright. I attack you. Not chump blocking. None of the spells really matter. I know his last spell is Daze, so I can F6 here. I'm gonna discard a Fog. So this is the lock the deck kind of has. You end up with just like a bunch of Arcane Denials and stuff in your hand. What is this? Gush. Thought Scour you. Definitely would have been faster to kill him with Thought Scours. I mean, he's already down to 13 cards at this point. I'm probably going to kill him. I might even mill him before I kill him with damage here. I'm going to start counting some of these Delvers. Because if he draws a big pile of cards, we'll be able to kill him with deep analysis and stuff. Yep, just trying to take a second off my clock. Enjoy your cards. Again, I'm letting him draw first because I made a mistake, but that's okay. Alright, we'll put some stuff back in. Doesn't really matter what. We're actually pretty close to just milling our opponent here with Deep Analysis and Thought Scour. So that was a big mistake on my part. I should have just been doing that the whole time. Shouldn't have been screwing around with all these fogs and things. Or screwing around with attacking every turn. Wouldn't have had to mess with all these jump blockers. Can discard these pieces of the puzzle. I'm going to counter any creature with Arcane Denial. Alright, here we go, the lethal attack. Alright. Looks like we got him. I'm going to restart my client while I'm sideboarding, so I'll be right back, you guys. Alright, so we're back now for some sideboarding, and the main thing is we're going to need these 4 Curse of the Bloody Tomes for sure. So, I'm going to bring those in. I'm not going to have time to click on Scrounger, so I'm just taking that out. Normally I'd still keep them in, even if I brought in these Curses, because it's still decent win condition. That Scour out for sure. It's not a good card. Probably take out 1 Pulse, since I don't necessarily need it if I don't have Scrounger. I do want to try to fit in maybe 2 Dispels. They're just really bad against Spell Stutter is the problem. Let's take out 1 Kodama's Reach. You have to be a little careful with your pieces of the puzzle, so I'm actually going to take 2 of those out. If you mill yourself too much, or if you mill all your curses, you can't win. Alright, this looks pretty good. I'm going to play super fast. Hopefully I can pull this off in time. Definitely don't have time for a game 3 if we lose this one. This one's a mulligan. If I had 1 more land, it would be fine, but we have a mulligan that one. I'm actually going to keep this one. If we find a green, it's quite good, and we did. So this is one where I could have definitely just, if I didn't hit the green on like the 2nd or 3rd turn, I could have just conceded right away. In fact, we might, like if this flips to a counterspell or something, we might be able to concede right here, but it didn't. He's attacking. Looks like maybe he has a 1-land hand again. So right by me. We need to sneak down this curse right away. Alright, a bear. That's it, huh? A rampant growth, I'm going to get an island. I'm going to have 6. So this is one of the benefits of rampant growth. If we had an explorer there, I wouldn't have been able to actually get a land necessarily. Alright, so this is pretty bad. He's got counterspell mana up, and he's probably gonna hold it up the whole game. Hopefully he ninjas us. That'd be really great. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I want to see. He's gonna tap out for ninja. That's great. So we might just be dead to a daze here, which would be really unfortunate. But we don't have much of a choice. I don't have anything else happening. Alright, missed again. Playing the bear out. they don't play anything else, I'm not going to play a curse here. I'm going to hold up Fog plus Arcane Denial. If they flash in another ninja, I'm going to play another curse on them. And it is getting a little dangerous. We're on a 2-turn clock here after this, but it is what it is. Luckily the new auto yield thing means I don't have to click anything for that. I'm going to put a stop in our opponent's upkeep for next turn for this Fog. So we're now ahead on time by a few seconds, but it's probably not going to matter. I think they're going to be able to play faster than us in the third game, kind of no matter what. And as you can see in this game, they killed us in like 2 minutes of game time. Alright. I pass the turn to them. Fog them. Arcane Denial anything countering my Fog. F6. So we made up a little bit of time here. They'll probably counter this and we'll lose, would be my guess. But I'm gonna still make them play out all their stuff. Gain a couple of seconds on them. Just gonna be spamming F6 here. Alright, so now we're up a little bit on time, but they can kill us in 3 minutes. We can't kill them in 3 minutes. So we're in an interesting spot here where I am not sure we even have enough time for this curse kill. And you saw the downside of curse there. Normally that would have been a couple actual spells that matter, those curses, rather than just bad stuff. So I'm going to bring back in the Scrounger. We might just beat him down to death with it. I don't think we have time to kill them with a curse no matter what. And I think I can F6 faster than my opponent. Especially if they have a single creature on the board, they're going to have to like click through attacks all the time with it. I'm going to bring in a pieces, but I don't have time for too many pieces of the puzzle. Bring that back in. Alright, time to play really fast. Put myself on the play. It looks great. Keep it. Gonna click this. F6 really fast. F6 my opponent's turn. Hopefully they have a bunch of Preordins and Ponders and stuff that they have to keep casting. I'm gonna cast Accumulated Knowledge on my turn just to save some time. I'm going to cast this Explore on my turn to save some time. Come on, bounce land. Alright, regular lands. It's fine too. Alright, F6ing my opponent's turn. They've got a Delver down. So you can see in the first game, we got up on time early, but then we got down on time later. And that's kind of what happens with this deck. We don't have to make too many decisions early on. We just have a lot of clicks later in the game. See if they flip here. They pondered last turn, so if they set it up right and didn't shuffle, it's probably going to flip. Okay, it didn't flip. Some quick F6 in here. See if it asks me to block. Okay, it didn't. That drives me insane when it asks me if I want to block. And I just can't block because I'm like, I don't have any creatures. How am I supposed to block? I don't have any legal blocks. I already drew land, which is perfect. I'm going to stop in their upkeep and Moment's Peace. They didn't counter that, so I'm going to cast this Accumulated Knowledge and F6. It's possible I shouldn't be doing that in their upkeep just so they have to like attack with their ninja and spend a couple of seconds, but we're getting pretty far ahead on time at this point. My opponent's wasting precious seconds doing that. Deep analysis myself. Perfect time to draw some cards. Okay. A moment's peace in the upkeep just so I can have 6 again. Probably gonna get dazed. Nope. They've got some tough stuff like Delver that they have to click yes or no on. Which costs them some precious seconds here. I do believe we are going to successfully time out this opponent, and it's a little unfortunate. I don't know if we would have lost last game if time weren't a factor. But this is just a reality of the deck, and if they couldn't play fast enough, they shouldn't have been trying to time me out in the first game, and that's really their fault. So I don't feel too bad about timing this guy out. It just is what it is. He shouldn't have been trying to time me out if he can't handle the time. So gonna have to attack here. I'm just gonna quick fog from my graveyard. Gonna cast a thing twice. Gonna have 6. Alright, gonna play my Scrounger. Which maybe I shouldn't even bother to do, but I am gonna do it. Play this island. Playing the island so I can fog and Arcane Denial. And unfortunately for our opponent, they keep getting this Delver flip, and they keep missing it, which means they have to keep saying yes or no every time. I'm gonna let them have that counterspell. Vapor Snag is okay. They've got a lot of stuff. I'm gonna give them another chance to, I don't know, take a few seconds off. So unfortunately for them, now that I drew this Scrounger, they're gonna have to block it every turn. So they're gonna run out of time due to that. Alright, gonna play this Simic Growth Chamber, pick up a Radiant Fountain. I'm gonna cast the Fog in their upkeep because I'm gonna Arcane Denial this counterspell. Which they didn't play. So you can see here I've got plenty of time to keep, you know, cycling my stuff and flashing back, think twice, and all that good stuff. I've got time for all this. My opponent doesn't have time for anything. They have to have 6 every turn here. Unfortunately, I didn't draw another fog, but they don't have lethal here. So that's okay. I got the Arcane Denial for that. And they're at 0. So we won the match to a timeout. It's not that interesting. I think we were in pretty decent shape to win this game anyway, but it's really hard to tell what would have actually happened in a real game, and that's an unfortunate part of this deck, and it's an unfortunate part about Magic Online. In paper, this deck's a lot faster to play. You can just play your Scrounger and basically like tap 4 mana and say, well, I'm gaining 6 life and drawing 2 cards, and just do the same thing over and over and over. You just can't do that online. It takes a lot of clicks. So it's our opponent's fault. They should have conceded game 1 earlier if they couldn't play faster. So I don't feel too bad about it, but just something to keep in mind. I'll see you guys for round 2.